Hey Geeks, welcome back to the Geek Cider Show. My name is Josh.
And I'm Anna.
And this is the first of two videos that are long overdue. In this video we are reviewing Game of Thrones Season 7, the finale, titled The Dragon and the Wolf.
And if you haven't seen this episode yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler.
And the kitty cats are already being terrible and shaking the camera. But let's just jump right into this review and talk about what, in my mind, is the most important singular moment in this episode, or at the very least is my favorite moment from this episode, and that is Littlefinger's death.
Yes! Finally!
Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for that bastard to die for so long.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a couple things that I want to talk about for this moment. First of all, it was awesome.
Yes.
And second of all, there was actually a deleted scene that kind of explained this scene a little more, and I'm actually really glad that they left that scene out. In the deleted scene, Sansa, after she had her one-on-one with Littlefinger, where she kind of explored Arya's potential motives for what she's been up to, she went to Bran and asked him to use his powers to look into Littlefinger and make sure he was on the up and up. And of course the conclusion was he's not on the up and up. And I'm really glad they left that scene out, because the way it was written without that scene, it seems like Sansa was on to Littlefinger from the start.
Yeah, it makes all of these really frustrating Sansa moments that we've had this season make sense, and that she wasn't being stupid and naive, and she wasn't being played by Littlefinger. In contrast, she was playing him and acting like he was winning.
Yeah, I like the way it comes across without that deleted scene. Is that Littlefinger thought he had one over on Sansa, but she actually had one over on her. And I'm glad they took that scene out. And I think that's probably why they took it out, is because they wanted it to seem like Sansa wasn't being an idiot this whole time, and Littlefinger, in fact, was the one being played. And I really, really like that. It makes Sansa's whole arc this season way better without that scene.
Yeah, it makes it way, way better, because we were getting a little frustrated with her.
Yeah, the payoff is better, I think, without that scene.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to talk about for this video is the meeting. And when Cersei asked Jon Snow, she's like, look, we'll team up with you, but just don't declare your loyalty for anybody yet until after we've dealt with the threat from the north. And he's like, sorry, kind of already did bend the knee to Daenerys. Not gonna undo it. And then, of course, Cersei storms off. That is totally Jon Snow being honest and honorable. But I really wish, because this season everything moved so fast, and the story moved so quickly, and there was a lot of details that I think were kind of left out, and I really would have liked to seen a scene with maybe on their way down to King's Landing for this meeting, maybe a scene between Tyrion and Jon where Tyrion's like, hey, Cersei's going to ask you maybe to bend the knee to her, probably just to not bend the knee to anyone until everything is taken care of as far as the ice zombies. You need to play this right and not tell her that you've already bent the knee to Daenerys. And then maybe have Jon deal with that and kind of fight with himself over whether to lie or whether to be honorable.
And this season, it feels like, since it was based on George R.R. Martin's notes and not an actual book, that there are a lot of details that are missing. And it really, although the season's been really good, it does kind of feel like the cliff notes for this book as opposed to the actual book.
Yeah, that's absolutely the way I feel too. I don't know, don't get us wrong, we love the season. It was a fantastic season, but I do feel a little bit shortchanged.
Yeah.
First of all, this was a 7-episode season as opposed to the regular 10. And, there were a couple of shorter episodes. There were a couple of longer episodes, but there were also a couple of shorter episodes. So I feel like we didn't get as much time and detail in the story as we normally do. And I think that actually kind of exasperated the joke, like the time travel joke, the Game of Thrones teleporter joke. I feel like because they probably Double D probably had so little to go on as far as this story, that kind of exacerbated the teleporter joke, I think.
Yeah.
Which, it's just one of those things with Game of Thrones, you kind of have to deal with it, but it was almost comical this season.
Yeah, it really was. the traveling from place to place incredibly fast, when previously it wasn't done so quickly. It was pretty comical. But it's a TV show. We can overlook it. Oh my god!
Terrible kitty cat. Like it's just one of those things that you kind of have to deal with any television show, really.
Yeah.
Especially a television show that has child actors.
Yes.
The kids are going to age, and whereas the adults, they'll look basically the same age. The kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to look a little bit older. You're like, oh my
Bran
gosh.
is totally way too old for his character, but there's really nothing you can do about that. The actor's going to age. It's not like they can just stop him from aging.
So you just kind of have to assume time has passed when it doesn't seem like time has passed.
Yes.
But that problem was definitely exacerbated this season, with especially the episode where like Davos, he goes from Dragonstone down to King's Landing, back to Dragonstone, up to Eastwatch in one episode. I'm like, oh my god, that was a whole lot of traveling for a 60-minute show. Let's move on to Cersei. Cersei had a great season this season.
Yes.
And you can basically count on every season Cersei having at least one catastrophic mistake. She saved hers for the final episode, I think.
Yes, she did. And she always, like you said, always makes one mistake that is just going to blow up in her face. And this season, that mistake was allowing Jaime to leave King's Landing.
Not only did she let him live, she let him leave.
Yes. Because he's going to go right up to Daenerys and let them know, hey, I left because she's cray-cray, and by the way, she's not honoring y'all's deal.
And not only that, remember Euron, how he said he was just going to go chill out on the Iron Islands? No, he's not. Look for him to ambush you guys at some point, because he was totes lying. So Cersei, I don't think she actually realizes how bad she's screwed up there.
Yeah.
She will once it blows up in her face.
Yeah, and she was presented, when he left, he presented her with the option of killing him. And she couldn't do it. And because she battled with that decision, she overlooked the more obvious decision: just throw him in prison, in the dungeon, until this all blows over and she's queen again.
And it seemed like for a second she might have mulled it over. It looked like the mountain was moving on him, but then, we see Jaime, riding out of town. And so she eventually, I guess, called the mountain off.
Yeah.
And huge mistake, gonna blow up big in Cersei's face.
Yep.
And the last thing to talk about for this video is the ice dragon and the wall falling. I really hope Tormund survived that. It seemed like he did.
Yeah, it really did. There was a scene when the dragon was blowing the ice fire at the wall, and you see a red-headed character that very much looks like Tormund dive off to the side of where the whole thing collapses. So he's still up on top of the wall, which kind of sucks because the staircase fell down.
Yeah.
So how he's going to get down, IDK, but...
Game of Thrones teleporter.
Yes! But it does seem like he's going to survive, which is great because I love him as a character.
Yeah, Tormund is awesome. I love the friendship he's developed with the Hound. I love the romance with Brienne. I would love to see like a love triangle or a love rectangle with Brienne, Tormund, the Hound, and Jaime. I think that would be amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It definitely looked to me like he survived. And I've seen a couple of stills where it's like a top-down view of the army of the dead walking through the wall, and they like the army took kind of the shape of a dire wolf.
Yeah,
and so that's given a cause for that fan theory that Bran is actually the Night King. I don't think he is.
Yeah, no, I think that was just an Easter egg that, like, the people who are producing the show were like, hey, let's make it look like this so it's a dire wolf just as a little, look, there's a dire wolf in the scene type thing. I think it's more of something like that than Bran is the Night King.
Yeah, I don't think Bran is the Night King, because if Bran is the Night King would know that he is Bran, and the army of the dead wouldn't have been trying to kill Bran last season.
Yeah. Because that doesn't make any sense.
It makes no kind of sense at all. So I do not think Bran is the Night King. It's a cool theory.
Yeah, I just think it was an Easter egg that they threw in just kind of as an homage to the fans. Like, let's see how many fans see this.
It's a cool theory, and
Yeah.
there's a ton of clues that point that way. I just don't think it's actually the case. And I think that's all we have for this video. I'm sure there's something that we should have mentioned that we didn't. So if that's true, let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you can tell us by dropping a like on it, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video. Help us grow our channel.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.